we're coming to the end of summer. School just started. It's been another interesting year compared to last year. We thought, wow, this is a unique year. The year before, we thought this is a
There's
unique
been a lot of unique years right now, man.
So, but this year, let's talk quickly about what you're seeing in the market, and you guys give me it from the buyer's perspective over this, first 6-7 months of the year.
It's changed a lot. I mean, even over the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've started to see the buyers have a little bit more of an upper hand.
Yep.
Starting to see stuff sit a little longer.
Yep.
Pickier buyers, for sure.
Yep.
If it's not perfect, picking at either when they're in escrow, picking at repairs and things like that,
Sure.
or if it's not dialed and perfect, they move on. So we're seeing that kind of all over the place in every little market here in San Diego. So there's a couple of odd ones where there's still multiple, out in kind of Poway, under $1 million. Things are still going with a ton of multiple offers, a little less picky.
Rancho Bernardo out there,
yeah. But for the most part, all the other places we're looking right now for clients, that's kind of the story.
Yeah,
so.
I agree.
Yep.
Tell me what you mentioned buyers picking on listings. So the last month or so, you start seeing people like, hey, I want this fixed in that.
Yeah. We've had credits on our last 4 deals, either on the listing side or on the buying side.
Yeah.
We've had credits where you think about a credit in May this year and it wasn't happening, or April this year, it wasn't happening. So we're starting to see more and more of it.
And we've had buyers too, even reach out to us and so have the sellers just not caught up to the market where we're at right now? Are they still holding their prices strong? And yes, they are. So sellers are still not in the driver's seat like they were last year, but the buyers they just haven't, kind of adjusted to the current market right now. So sellers are having to give up concessions. They are having to give up potentially, back last year.
Buy downs in loans.
Well, one big thing is free rent backs.
Yeah,
not really a thing anymore.
Now it's paid.
Yeah. Paid rent backs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Requests for repairs, all that kind of stuff. So that's been big right now.
What's probably the most important thing when you're working with an agent too is for them to understand that, because there are if you have a single story under $1.5 million close to the beach, you're still getting a lot of offers. If you have anything almost $1.5 million close to the beach, but there's still tighter inventory, but also at the beach, Encinitas, if you get past 3 million or so, there's more things. So, how would you guide somebody during this time? Because we're in this transition where we saw the market last year take off and then drop off. Top at $1 million last July, probably the bottom. These are median price San Diego as a whole hit 849.
Yeah.
Well, if you're
back to $1 million.
If you're a buyer right now, the opportunity is in these next few months. If we see what we saw last year, and there's just less buyers out there as prices are kind of adjusting and softening a little bit.
And rates up.
And rates up, less competition out there. That's when we're seeing some opportunity.
Yeah. And it's the price that's the key. In the end, the one thing that never changes when you buy a house is the price you paid.
Yeah.
You can't change that. You can change the interest rate over time.
Yeah.
Pay it off, there's all kinds of things you can do. But so if your best advice to buyers, what are you counseling them right now? We're at the end of summer, moving forward into fall.
Well, there's not going to be a ton to look at, so patience is kind of the big thing.
Right.
You still need to move. If you like something, move on it.
Yeah.
You maybe don't have to be as aggressive with an offer, depending on where it's at and all that. But putting your best foot forward, but just know that it might take a couple. And if you don't want to push hard for a house that's not perfect, don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Because there might be a better one come. Now, Chris, if you're on the listing side here, so you want to help both people, you've got a listing right now that's sitting for a couple weeks, which that's the funny thing too, is sellers get this angst about the market. Now, they get used to this 1-2 week, I'm in escrow.
Yep.
And seller starts getting some angst, like what's going on? I talked to one of our agents and I think the house was on the market 6 days and no offers yet. And I'm just like, okay, there's this thing going on. So maybe how would you counsel a seller in this position that you put it on the market and it's sitting for 2 weeks now, 3 weeks.
So if you're a seller in this market, I think one thing that's super important, just like as with buyers, is patience as well. It is, because it's not the cadence is different this year. It's not first weekend, put it on, let's get all those offers. We have seen where you do get offers that first weekend, but they might be kind of lowball offers.
Right.
So if you wait till, if you have your number set in your head, obviously one of the most important things always is pricing. But if you have your number in your head and, give it that second weekend, maybe counter back at your number, make sure you're still strong where, walk away with what you want to get, but also don't overprice it right now.
Yeah. Yep. Important factor. The word you used, I think, is really important. The cadence is different this year. It's different than it was last year. So we're probably going to see something similar to what we saw last year after the peak in prices where it kind of trended down over into the end of the year. I don't think it'll be as deep because there's still, even though there's inventory, and we've seen it go from, at a very ultra low half a month up to 2.3 months or so right now.
Yeah.
There's about, how much would you say of that is actually these people that are not selling? They just have a price on it. You see those homes, you go there, you're like, whoa, this is like $500,000 high. Or whatever the number is. So some of the inventory is that. So it's still low.
Yeah. I'd say it's a bunch of it right now, especially just because people have gotten used to that. Sellers have gotten used to that.
Right.
Kind of trend of if we list it at whatever we want, we're going to get offers no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's just not happening now. That's the big change is earlier this year, it was happening still.
Yep.
Last year, it was happening until about this time. So
realtors show up too and say, how much do you want?
Yeah.
Okay. Write it down.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Rather than, having some counseling and talk through what we're just talking through.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
If somebody called you today, we're going to switch it this time. I'm going to talk to Chris. Buyers, give me 2-3 tips that they could use real quick if they're a buyer and they're coming into our market.
So if you're a buyer, it really depends on what market you're at, what price point you're at, what area you're looking at. If you're looking in certain areas, still hot. But if you are looking in other areas, there's going to be some opportunity for houses where everything's not flying off the shelf. So do your homework, make sure you get your price, and just write a good offer, but not necessarily good meaning price and the terms that kind of work for you, as opposed to last year. It was like, you got to write the offer, just definitely skewed towards the seller. Yep. This year, it's a little bit different. You have a little bit more power.
Yeah.
So use your power.
It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And use the right team of people to help you get that. Your lender, your agents. Now we also have to talk to people about having their insurance.
Yeah.
Kind of that going in. So that's the other little nuance different than this year.
Yeah.
All right, Cassie, what do we got? If I'm a home seller and I need to sell before the end of the year.
So definitely pricing is going to be the biggest thing. If you're in a rush to sell, if you have to sell, pricing aggressive is going to be the way to do it.
Define pricing aggressive.
Pricing at market, not above market or even a little bit below market.
Yeah.
To try to get as many people in as possible. I mean, that's the key. Make sure the condition looks great because that's, like I said, the buyers are pickier right now. So dialing in everything before listing, even if it takes an extra couple of weeks, it's important, and more now than it has been for the last 2 or 3 years. Condition will start to be more and more important as it kind of trends towards the buyers having the upper hand. So so those are the main things, and accessibility. A lot of having the house as accessible for buyers as possible to try to get as many people in it as possible.
Perfect. Thanks. Good advice for the coming fall.
Yeah.
Right.
And we'll see what it brings.
Yeah. The one great thing I know with you guys and myself too, we're watching things all the time and making these adjustments. Like you said, hey, the cadence is different. You need to think about this. So if there's any way we can help you at the Beach Life Group, call one of these two guys, email them, text.
Maybe that guy too. You can always get in touch with Loren also.
Yeah. You can call me. I'm happy. Call any of us. And here's the one thing about all of us I know that I really value you guys because of this. We're happy to talk to people and answer questions. And here's my one tip for the whole thing. If you're looking to buy or sell, start early. Give yourself, don't get under pressure. If you want to buy by the first part of next year, let's start the process now. We're not going to try to push you into a house tomorrow. Let's get you completely set up so you can have the best options possible. Same with if you're selling.
Yep.
You want to sell at the beginning of next year. Let's start talking through and make sure everything's dialed in so you can get what's best for you and be more opportunistic, in a market that's changing regularly.
Agreed.
Yep. Cool. Thanks for
Cheers.
being here, guys.